Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Wayne County Chambers podcast, For the Record. We want to say a special thank you to our sponsors, Sport Durst of Goldsboro, Goldsboro Builder Supply, and Professional Data Management. The Sport Durst team is ready to get you into a beautiful new Volkswagen. Offering open and honest pricing on every vehicle and service, Sport Durst of Goldsboro understands the value of your time and dollars. Providing quality building materials since 1953, Goldsboro Builder Supply is your premier destination for custom designs and excellent service to builders and contractors in Wayne County and surrounding areas. Professional Data Management offers specialized service and technologies designed to help you gain maximum reimbursements for the valuable services that your office provides. Another huge thank you to our in-kind sponsors, Daniels Furniture, University Lights of Goldsboro, and Johnson Carpet One, who together worked hard to make our beautiful podcast set what you see today. And for the record, we're glad you're here.
Well, first of all, good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Man,
thank you for having us.
We're very excited to have you. First of all, we wouldn't have these digs. We wouldn't be doing this podcast without you guys. So we're fired up to have you here. If you will, just tell the folks who you are, organization you represent, and a little bit about maybe your family.
Okay. Yeah, sure. You want me to start? All right. So my name is Wayne Dubois. I work with Sport Durst. I oversee all of our operations. We have
Sport Durst is
Sport Durst Automotive.
Automotive, yep.
Yep. Well, we have automotive. We also have a power sports store as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I oversee all of our locations and travel down here. I live in Chapel Hill. My family lives down here. My kids have moved down here with us, and my wife and I have been together for going on 27 years now.
Man.
And we love it down here in North Carolina. We moved down here from Michigan. So
nice. Are you a University of Michigan football fan?
My daughter graduated from Michigan State. So that's to answer your question.
Yeah, sorry about that. Whoopsie daisies.
Yeah.
All right. Well, very good.
I am Frankie Franks with Sport Durst of Goldsboro. I'm a sales manager there. Came with the building, I guess you would say, and have been there a long, long time. Great organization. I'm married. My husband is the sales manager at Jacksonville Sport Durst. So I'm married to Howard Franks, have 3 kids, 1 daughter, 2 sons, and just living life, enjoying it. Thankful for these wonderful people.
That's right. Living the car dealership dream right now. So let's talk about a little bit about the business, where you're located, which if you're from Goldsboro and lived in Goldsboro for any amount of time, they probably know, but where are you located? We're
located on 1112 Sunburst Drive, formerly Freeman Motors since 1963. These wonderful people came along in March 12th of 21 and have been a total blessing, good people. And then the Jacksonville store is on Marine Boulevard in Jacksonville.
Yeah, very cool. So Freema, like that in my world, Freema is like, when I think of that location, I still think Freema in my brain, which I don't think is a bad thing, but because in a lot of ways, it looks very much the same. Right? I mean, the people are the same and
So, yeah, when we came down, so our attraction to coming down here, Goldsboro is a good market. Obviously, you got the Air Force Base here, which lends some stability to the market as well. But the main reason we were attracted to the store was people. It was Frankie and her family and the way that they ran their business. Years ago, Sport was actually in a 20 group that they were part of the 20 group. And he remembered how well their store did and everything. So for us to be able to come down here and partner with them and, them to become part of our group and part of our culture, we just think a lot alike. We care about our people. We're a very much keep that hometown feeling and people first. If we got happy people that we respect them, take care of them, they're in turn going to do the same thing with our customers. And so I think it's been a pretty good fit.
It's been a great fit.
Yeah. And normally, I mean, I guess business transitions happen, all the time, all over the place, all over the world, happen in Wayne County a lot. how did that come about? How did that go? Like, I mean, how do you navigate something that's been around for a long time, and you guys have been in the car business, but you know.
So, you know, we got word actually, Sport, if you kind of know sports history, he was in a real bad car accident just before that happened.
Oh, wow.
And I actually picked him up from the hospital and we came down to meet with you guys. Funny story.
Yeah.
But we had heard wind that, or rumor, I guess, that they might be interested in doing something and selling the store or partnering up with the store. So we were certainly interested because of the reasons that I had told you. We knew what great people they were and how they operated their business and cared about their people and had a good reputation in the community, all those things. So we came down right away, and it was just a good fit right from the first meeting. I want to say we put the deal together within a couple of weeks.
Yep.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Just like that.
Yep.
Just to tell you the kind of people they are, that first night, I mean, he literally had just left the hospital band on. Wayne brought him down to
and who is he again? Tell me.
Sport Durst. He had been in a bad accident.
So that's it. That's a guy's name?
Yeah.
It's David Durst, but if you could call him David all day and he won't answer. So.
I guess he goes by Sport.
He goes by Sport.
Well, that's pretty cool.
But he, I mean, that's just right there starts it out with the kind of people you're dealing with.
Yeah.
I mean, not many people would do that.
That's right.
I remember he was hurting so bad during that meeting. I don't know if you remember that. He had that bag of medicine. And at the end, he was like, well, Wayne, let's just drive around the lot. Let's look at the property.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So so many people, I want to talk more about the business here in a second, but the car business, being a dealership, being a car dealer, or a car salesperson, I guess, in a lot of people's minds, they have something that comes to their mind. And my guess is, I don't want to say it's negative, but they certainly have a feeling like, right? There's stories that are associated.
Yeah, the used car sales guy.
The used car sales guy, you know what I mean? And, you know, you think, and then so much so that people have like created all these strategies in their mind for how they're going to work it, you know, right? Like, you know, if you're a married couple, I just think about the married couple conversation about what we're going to do when we go in there to shop for a car and buy a car. And anyway, they're not getting us today, right?
Sure.
So, but that stereotype came from somewhere. How does one get into the car dealership business?
You know, today it's almost like the growing trend is that you already own stores, and the owners that own them are buying more and more. As far as getting in, if you're talking like salesperson level, things like that, you know, we do train. We have training programs where we train people and we help them out. And some of that culture that used to be there years and years ago, the used car salesperson and stuff, I think that technology has gotten a lot of that out of our business. We got some really good people in our business that, you know, they have, you know, I shared with you, I sold cars for 12 years when I started in the business.
What got you started? Like what dawned on you to say, hey, let me go sell some cars?
You know, when I got out of high school, my dad retired from Pontiac Truck and Bus, and I lived in Michigan, as I told you, and he co-signed a little truck for me, and the sales manager and the sales consultant talked me into selling cars for the summer. And I just never turned back. I loved it and fell in love with the business and just kept growing myself through the business. So met my wife in the business. She sold cars for a while. So it's been really good to us. And even at our stores now, you know, there's technology. What I say by that is that there's so much stuff disclosed now online on where people can do all the research before they even come in. So it's a totally different buying experience than what it was back then, you know, 20, 25 years ago. And we have a lot of really good people that are very family oriented. We try to make sure we got a good work-life balance with our employees. So, you know, they can have that time with their children. They can have that time with their families when they're not at work.
Yeah. And how did you get, when and how did you?
May,
and
1987.
And you enjoy, so it's a brother and sister combo, right?
Yep.
And how did you guys, take me through how y'all got going in this?
Well, you know, obviously with it being Fremont, we had spent every sick day from school there. We had spent every salesman picked us up from school in the afternoon, brought us back to the dealership. I mean, we lived and breathed it. But with my situation, I was ready to go to work. As my father told me, it was time to go to work. The credit plan with him was over. And I wanted to stay in Wilmington. And he said, oh, no. First, I'm going to see what kind of work ethic you have, and then I will recommend you for a job, but not until I see what you're made of. And so it just, I went to work. We worked 21 straight days. We worked Sundays. I'd never worked before. His rule was school was your job. And so he wanted grades and that kind of thing because he could never go to school. So it was a big deal to him. And so we worked 21 straight days. I'm over there thinking, what did I do? How did I get in this career? But I loved it immediately. It was a different relationship with my dad. It went from father to child, and it went to business partners. And it was crazy, the whiteboards that we would do and the things we would do of what we needed to accomplish and the different level of respect and friendship we came to. And I wouldn't trade anything for that. I mean, it was like, great. I just got back here and liked it and stayed.
Stayed in the family business.
Stayed in the family business. And then Joey came back in 91, I think it was.
Is that right?
Yep.
Very good. So interesting. I always think that's usually some of the best parts is like, how do people even do this? Like, how do they decide? So you mentioned this a little bit, but the car business has evolved quite a bit, over the last couple of decades. And the idea of, maybe what used to be the idea of a local independent business has become very, very challenging and very difficult. But just in general, that buying experience or like, how do you take me through that? How has the car selling business evolved?
So I'll tell you an interesting statistic. I was just at a 20 group meeting a few weeks ago.
And what is a 20 group meeting?
So a 20 group meeting is you 20 different dealers, NADA puts it together from around the country that are not in competitive markets. And we go there and we just share all of our business practices and try to learn from each other and improve ourselves.
Yeah.
So we go there and we have a moderator that's from NADA. Their statistic now is that a consumer visits between 0.8 and 1.1 dealers before they buy a car. Now you can say, well, how can you buy a car and not visit a car dealer? And you got the Carvanas out there, you got the Vroom. We deliver to your house. We'll deliver a car to the driveway.
Oh, Sport Durst delivers.
Durst will definitely do that.
Oh,
we
come
deliver.
On now.
Yeah. So we have buying tools, online buying tools right on our websites. You can calculate your payment. You can adjust your down payments, what you think your interest rate. You can apply for credit. So there's so much of the deal that's being done now. And
so
the assumption is 100% of the people are researching and doing these things online before they ever visit a store.
Yeah. So one average of max 1.1 dealerships visited when they make a purchase.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. So how do you build brand loyalty with something like that? Like if that, this is just really a business question. If that's the case and people are doing, all of that work and doing all of that research sort of before you, how do you engage customers? How do you build that brand loyalty?
So your brand loyalty, each one of the OEMs that we have, which we have 8 different OEMs that we deal with in automotive, is your manufacturer.
Okay,
right?
okay.
Volkswagen, Mazda that we have here in Goldsboro, Jacksonville, Subaru, and Volkswagen there. And then Durham, we have Hyundai, Mitsubishi, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, and a Mazda store there.
Okay.
So what they do is there's a lot of apps now that connect you to your car and connect you to your manufacturer. So that they try to keep you within their group, loyalty that way. What we do is we have a lot of maintenance programs that we have for our customers when they buy cars from us. So they buy a service contract, and we have a BDC department that tries to make sure we're reaching out to our customers, inviting them and getting that first maintenance and get them into our shop, get them help, get them on the right track, maintaining the vehicle and things like that. And that's how we create the loyalty there. And then, of course, the long-term loyalty comes from the experience they have.
That's right.
And, we got people like Frankie in the stores that just do a great job creating that good customer experience.
Yeah. Frankie, if Frankie were paid on the amount of time she spent with me instead of the amount of sales she's had with me, she'd be rich. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. What is the experience like, when people do spend time with you at your shop? Let's talk about the one in Goldsboro specifically, because we're in Wayne County and we're trying to reach this audience. So what is differentiating about that? What's special?
Here's what I want it to be. Here's the dream. So that old song when we were growing up on the cover of the Rolling Stone,
Yeah.
You remember that song?
I think I do,
okay,
yeah.
Well, anyway, Wayne wants to be that dealership that's on the cover of all the automotive magazines about how does this group in North Carolina do this and do so well at it. And it's really what we find is, well, first of all, when people ask me about FREMA, Durst has just made it hugely better. It's the same place. It is unheard of that all employees stay. And that's exactly what happened. He told me was going to happen.
And that's crucial. So nobody they didn't chop,
Nope.
That's such a huge
and nobody
thing.
does that. I even had people after we decided to close the deal, that were customers, and they're like, what are you going to do? I'm like, well, I'm going with the build and I'm going to stay in there. That's not going to, but they have done everything that they have said they were going to do. So I tell people it's us. It's just way better because they got a lot more resources that they have helped us with and different things. So customers can buy a car anywhere they want to, and we have to earn that. And so what we find is most customers come in and they've narrowed it down to, with all their research, to a couple cars. And then it really comes down to the experience. And so what we try hard to do is, like you said, people come in to buy a car, and because they've been somewhere else, they're sort of got their guard up maybe, or we try really hard. We're not going to sell everybody a car. We're not going to get together with everybody on a car. No dealer is. But the goal is that they leave feeling that they were respected and that they understood what happened in the process, and that, we want them all to buy a car, obviously, but if they don't, which is going to happen, we want them to say, you know what, that was a great experience and I would go back there. That is the goal, is that to be like a change car business. It's just different with this organization, and they're the right people to do it because they believe that same way.
And wherever we buy stores, this particular one we're talking about, that's our goal going in. Sport and I look at it, how can we support them? How can we enhance what they already have going on?
Kind of use your scale to give them an advantage.
Correct. And support them. And the other thing is the customer experience. Again, I believe if, you got a happy employee, that's going to transition into a happy customer, but also the customer, when they come back for that oil change and they walk up on that showroom, they'd like to see the salesperson they bought the car from.
That's right.
They come back in 2 or 3 years to buy a car. It'd be nice if that same car salesperson's there that they've built a relationship with, rather than the constant turnover that, unfortunately our industry does have a little bit of a reputation for. But, we've kind of prided ourselves on, we put a lot of effort into taking care of our people, and Sport and I look at it when we go in, that is the number one asset. Anytime we go over in to take over a deal, it's the people that are there.
Yeah, that's such a great point, and I think that's beneficial for every business to hear, is that people want long-term relationships, not one-night stands.
Correct.
End of the day, yep. While people do think and assume that it's a transactional relationship, that's actually not most people's internal, aspiration. What they want is to be connected to something. And most of the time being connected is to people. They want to be connected to people, right? And so I think it's so interesting, that strategy that you guys are using and have used is, number one, it's ethical. But number two, it's hopefully beneficial, I would think, Well, here's some facts that,
it's true what you say. So we offer to deliver any vehicle to a customer in their driveway, just like a Vroom or a Carvana or, some of the stats that I was telling you about. But we deliver less than 1% of all of our cars do we actually deliver offsite, because people come into the store and they do want that experience. Now they do all the research before they come in, but when they come in, they want that experience and they want that connection that they've made with that salesperson, whether it be through online or through chat or phone or whatever. But they like to come in and drive the car and see it, touch it, feel it, and have that experience. And
people can say what they want to. They can say they want to avoid, car salespeople and car dealers, but boy, you walk around any car dealership, there are people are chatting people up. You know what I'm saying? So customers, I think customers secretly, it feels like anyway, I know even in my own life, I get a kick out of the conversations, Well,
they only say that until they get around Frankie.
Yeah.
I mean, you walk through there and she knows everybody that comes in that showroom. It's unbelievable.
That's right. And she talks to you. If she doesn't know you, it feels like she's known you for a long time. I do think that's and I do think, isn't that an advantage, that family-owned feeling, that family-owned aspect? I mean, I think that's another part of your strategy that seems to make sense, is that you're taking the best of what has been and you're just, like you said, adding to it. So
making it better.
Is that that's got to be a huge advantage in this market, right? To be really positioned as a family-run business, right? Don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, our customers, some of my favorite people in the world, I mean, who I would consider dear friends, are customers.
Yeah.
Generations. I mean, their parents bought, then they bought. Now their kids are buying. We know everything about them. We know, who they've lost in their family, who's new in their family, where the kids moved. I mean, it's something special. I mean, the people in this town that are loyal, and there's just, you can't ever take that for granted, ever.
Right. So, people will do business with you guys because?
Well, we try to do it the right way.
I say Frankie.
I don't know about that.
That's a good strategy. You know what I mean? That's a good strategy.
We try to be ethical. We try to do it the right way. We try to be there after the, sale. If inevitably everything doesn't go perfect every time. I tell people all the time, I can't promise you're never going to have a car, but what I can promise you is you have my cell phone number and I'm going to be there.
Which is wild.
If you have a problem.
And that is true. I don't mean to, that is true. She gives every customer, she'll give them her personal cell phone number.
I've got it.
She has people call her on Sunday afternoon with a problem, Saturday evening, and she's there. She helps them. And that is a true differentiator. I mean that when I say Frankie, but they care about the customers, and every transaction isn't perfect. Sometimes there's some issues, and you're talking about automobiles. There's a lot of parts on there that function, and things break and they happen.
Sure.
But it's what do you do with that when those times occur? How do you take care of that customer? Are you upfront? Are you truly there to help them? And Frankie and her team are definitely there, bending over backwards to help anybody that needs it.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think that's true for every business, right? Is that there, in any relationship, there's going to be trouble. There's going to be a moment where there's sort of a reckoning, if you will. There's where things didn't go how we hoped, whatever that means. And, how in particular a relationship as a business, how a business responds to those negative moments probably has way more to do with that relationship with the customer, right, than what happened if everything went perfect.
Sure.
It's way more memorable.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
That's what makes it or breaks it. I mean, what you do after you tell them is what matters. And that's how you have customers for years and years and years, and you stay in business. I remember one of the first conversations I had with Sport and Wayne was, if our sticker's going on the back of that car, this is what we expect. And I mean, it showed me right there. They didn't have to say anything else, that they had the same philosophy that we do. Mm-hmm. And you can't make sure that everything goes perfect, because it's not going to, but it's how you handle it. And, that's what we want to be known for. We want to be known for, it's not your typical car dealer situation. You're going to be treated with respect all the way through, and we're going to look after you after, and we're going to care about you, and we're going to, we want you to, the next time you buy a car, it's not going to be where am I going to buy it? It's what am I going to buy? And that's when we've done our job, is when we get to that point.
And I think all that starts with sport, his vision.
Yep.
You know, sport's a great guy, very supportive to all of us and everybody that's in the organization. And, you know, he doesn't want to have that feel of being a huge auto group that doesn't know their people or isn't connected with their people. I can't say it enough that, you know, the people are the biggest asset within the organization, and they're what make everything go. And it's very, very important to him that he doesn't lose that hometown feel. So wants to keep that culture inside the stores, wants to care about the people, and then wants to be involved in the community wherever we're growing.
Yeah. So let's talk about that community engagement for a second. How does that strategy play out? Like in where you guys are now? I know that you were a big part we just had an air show here in Wayne County, which is a big deal. And you guys were real pivotal, in sponsoring that and being engaged in that. I mean, how do you guys choose to stay involved in your local community, and how does that community engagement, how does it contribute to your success and your growth, like in your mind?
So from a corporate level, like from my level and what Sports Vision is our store leaders like Frankie, we want them, involved grassroots in the community, being involved in your local chamber, being involved at the Air Force
Shout out
Base.
Wayne County Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
Woo woo. Sorry, go ahead.
And we want to support that, whether that be financially, whether that be coverage in the store because they have to be out doing something or be in an event, and want to support and encourage them to do those things. I think it's giving back to the community. You can't just go into a community and set up your business and, it be a one-way street. Right? It's got to be a two-way street. And I think if we take care of the community will take care of us back.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I'm sure you guys I'm sure you see that in every community, right? And you guys have seen it over the course of life here, right?
Yep.
That community engagement. So it really is I think sometimes smaller businesses fail to appreciate the impact that has. I always say, I always ask people, I was like, if you were to go away tomorrow, would people miss you? Right? Did they even know you were there? Were you basically there for them in such a way that was pivotal enough that it was memorable? Because if you can answer yes, then you're probably doing something right. And if the answer is no, then you didn't have one of those long-term relationships we were talking about, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, what about a memorable customer story? I mean, I'm sure over you guys' course of your life, like you've got something that you're like, man, I'll always remember that. Yeah, it could be funny, it could be crazy, it could be wild. Like, give us some juice, man. Give us something.
You got to have some good stories there.
I have a lot of good stories. Well, speaking of the situations where things go wrong.
Okay.
So I had a customer one time years ago, turned out to be one of my favorite customers, great man in the community. And I didn't know him at that time, but I walked by Joey's office and he was sitting in there. Well, Joey was gone somewhere. So I said, can I help you? And he said, well, I'm waiting to see Joey. And I said, well, I'm Joey's sister. I said, he stepped out for a minute, but can I help you? 30 minutes later, and if you know me, I did not say one word, and he unloaded about what a situation that had gone wrong, which he was absolutely rightfully in his course to say that. But we got through it, fixed his problem, took care of him, and before the end of the next day, he had ordered 2 brand new cars for both girls. And I mean, brand new. We got through the problem. He never said he was thinking about buying anything, but when we finished it, he shook my hand and said, all right, now I want to order 2 cars. You proved to me what you're made of, so I want to order 2 new cars. Cool. So anyway, I have a million of them.
But that's
Customers
a good one that
are
stands
characters
out.
and there, but to me, that's a case of, you got to do the right thing. And then if people trust you, they can buy a car anywhere.
Yeah.
And you got to earn that. I mean, that's just the bottom line. You got to earn that they feel comfortable and they buy it from you,
Yeah.
So I can share a story from down here that credits Frankie and some of the customers and just the culture down here in Goldsboro for the whole thing. So right when I'll share a little personal story. So right when we bought the store, I lost my son, my 22-year-old son.
Sorry to hear that.
So I was in there, and all these folks are just super, super supportive. And Frankie introduces me to a lady who's a customer who I guess had heard about that. And she's I think a youth minister in the area. And she come in several times. Well, finally she caught me there one day because I'm not always there. And she wanted to just have a minute with me and let me know that she had been praying for me and my family. And, that how Frankie had talked about us and what good we were doing in the community and things like that. And even up until this past weekend, she'll send me text messages that she thinks about me praying, or send a daily prayer, a daily message and stuff, and text me every now and then. And I mean, just what a fantastic story of the type of people that are in this community and the customers that we have. And as a lady, I didn't know from anything. And that's how supportive Frankie and the whole team was when we came in.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So, yeah.
That's amazing. You said that. Oh my goodness.
You remember that, right?
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that is the good people we have right there. I mean, she didn't share it. One day she walked in and wanted to see him. I thought, oh my God, what did I do? And that's what it turned out to be, it shows the kind of people we're dealing with. Just fine people.
Sport Durst Volkswagen Mazda of Goldsboro is proud to support Wayne County Chamber of Commerce. Family owned and operated, Sport Durst knows the importance of keeping local money local and supporting the community. We put our customers first with the area's best pricing, best trade-in value, and best selection of new and pre-owned vehicles. Come experience the Sport Durst difference, where customers and community come first.
Before we dive into today's episode, we want to provide a content warning for our viewers. In this episode, we'll be discussing sensitive topics, including a conversation surrounding suicide. If you or someone you know is struggling with these thoughts, please seek help from a mental health professional or a helpline. Your well-being is important to us, and we're here to help one another. To learn more about the steps that Sport Durst is taking to advocate for suicide prevention, please visit pd3foundation.com.
So you talked a little bit about your son that you lost.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that just a second? And
we sure
just,
can.
Yeah.
So, lost my son July 15th, 2021. He was 22 years old and he committed suicide. So, we've created a foundation, PD3, Parker Dubois 3, War number 3. He was quite an active student athlete. And, to try to bring more awareness to mental health and how we can help anywhere in the community. Sport Durst is very, very active with that. And each one of our communities that we're at, we like, for instance, in May, we'll do we donate $100 to the foundation for every car that's purchased from us, and help raise some money so we can help support and raise more awareness to that cause.
That's amazing. I mean, because as far as we've come, we are so far behind when it comes to mental health. It feels like, when we talk to the healthcare folks that we deal with, whether it's private practices or the hospital or whatever it may be, the ability to refer is low. Like, the number of providers is not nearly what it should be for a community of this size. And I'm sure that our community is not the only one. But how do we, I guess that's part of the purpose of...
That's part of the purpose of the foundation. And you're right, you're spot on. There is a shortage of help in that area. And any community we're involved with or that we've looked at, whether that's, therapists for availability to sit down and talk with someone, health insurance coverage, that it's not inexpensive, right? To sit down and talk to somebody. Not all health insurance companies cover it. Not everybody has health insurance, and not everybody has $150 to $200 that they can spend per hour to sit down and get the help that they need.
Yeah.
To get through some of those tough times that they might be going through. So we're doing a lot of research on trying to figure out what's the best way that we can help to supply more assistance and get to people that are having those struggles.
And then I guess research on kind of what causes or what, the conditions, surrounding the actual, struggle itself, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, mental health, it's been out there for, a long time. But I feel like during COVID times here, it's really glared its ugly head, so to speak, on how tough it is on people. And there's not been a lot of research. There's now starting to become a lot more research on researching the brain to find out, what is causing the depression, what is causing folks to feel this way, that, they don't want to be around anymore, can't see past today. When we lost my son, it was, I said, he put a permanent solution on a temporary problem. But what's the cause of why they can't see that that's just temporary and see through tomorrow? And that's just a bad day or a downtime I'm going through right now. So hopefully, some of the research and that's happening out there, they can find the answer to that.
Yeah, or at least people to help folks navigate through that temporary moment.
Right.
Or to see, it's just perspective, right? I heard someone say to me one time that when you feel boxed in and when you feel closed in and there's pressure, it's like being at the edge of a cliff. The only thing you can focus on is what? Your feet.
Right.
You stop looking at the horizon, you stop seeing everything around you. Whereas if you just could take a step back, if you could just take a deep breath and just get a minute and take a beat, but things, sometimes it's just, you're so...
No, and I think that's a good way to describe it. And there's a new hotline out there that's not everywhere. It's not in every county. It's not in every city. It's not in every state. It's a 988 hotline that is there for suicide awareness. So if you're having that moment, as you described, where you're standing there on the edge of that cliff and all you can see is your feet, just dial the numbers so that, there's somebody on the other end of that line that's going to help you. And unfortunately, there's not enough volunteers out there to cover all that. So now there's some expense with employees. One of our fundraisers, I was talking to a gentleman that's very involved with that. And they just got their first government grant for that. So, while you'd think it would be maybe further along or hope that was further along, at least it's getting going, right? Yeah. And that awareness is there, and they're starting to build on that where people can call and get help. And, through our group, we had, everybody knows my story in our group and our PD3, what we do, and we try to talk to all of our employees. And we had a young man over Thanksgiving that used that number, and, we had to go and, get him some help, but he's doing well now, and I think it helped him out a lot. So those are some good, positive success stories that we want to keep hearing about.
That's amazing. So I think, Sport Durst is more than cars.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
More than cars. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that, and I appreciate that.
Sure.
So when I'm trying to think about what's next, for kind of in two directions. Number one, the car, the auto market is changing, not just in terms of how people buy and that experience, but also the kinds of things they're buying. There's an evolution that's occurring in technology related to cars, right? Vehicles, in terms of electric vehicles. My guess is infrastructure starting to change related to how those cars are charged and moved, from one part of the, world to the other part of the world. And it just seems that every, it used to be just Tesla, but it's, the market is now starting to catch where, every, what did you call that before?
OEM.
Every OEM.
Yep.
That sounds like a band. You know what I mean? OEM. Yeah. Is going that direction. So it's clearly changing.
They're all building at least one model of EV. We're selling quite a lot more EVs than what we've sold in the past. Right now, where I feel like the hot spot is that we sell more of, because the infrastructure hasn't quite caught up yet.
Right.
And they haven't figured out the range. Folks want to head out to the beach, or they want to head to the mountains. They want to be able to do that in a short time and not have to go way out of their way and make their drive, twice as long.
Sure.
Because they're chasing down a charger. So the plug-in hybrids have really right now. I think that's the sweet spot we're in right now as we're transitioning into this full EV.
So there's still gas.
Correct.
Is that right? And then part electricity.
You can charge it and you can run it on EV. That battery starts to go low, and then it'll take over, and it'll just run like a regular ICE engine.
Mm-hmm. So. Nice. So the only thing that I see out in the world, I was thinking about this yesterday. I was at a Sheetz, and so I see, this line of Tesla chargers. And every time I go, I try to ask the folks who are sitting there waiting for their car to charge, like, talk to me about your car and your experience and all this kind of stuff, because I just think it's interesting. It's just such a change in dynamic. Is Tesla, like those chargers, is that the only place? How are cars that are EVs, how are they charged?
So there's an app out there. So you have Tesla has one where you know where your Tesla chargers are.
Okay.
ChargePoint is one that a lot of the OEMs that I'm telling you about, the different brands, recommended that we use. So if you're an EV owner, you download this app, and you can map out your drive. It'll tell you where they're at. So in our Durham location, we have one of them. They're the level 3 chargers, and it looks just like a gas pump. And that one is connected to the app service. So a customer coming through, Chapel Hill, Raleigh, Durham area, they would be able to find us on there, and they could come in and charge, and then they can swipe a credit card on it, just like you do at the gas station. And there's a charge per minute that it's charging, and works very similar.
That's wild. So are those like all-inclusive chargers? In other words, anybody can charge on them? I mean, how does that work?
Those are, yep.
Okay, so it's really like a third party. It's really almost like a third-party provider for all of these different EV, right?
Yeah, we have to have internet going out to it, and then it connects through our internet, and that's how it connects to the app and uses all the technology. But they can come in and use it even when we're closed.
So is that cloud-based technology? Or is that does there have to be like fiber run to that? Do you know? Or is it?
No, I'd say it's cloud-based. We do not run any like fiber optic cable to it or anything like that.
Interesting.
It links right into our internet. It's got to be close to the building, close enough to get the signal, and that's all.
Man, that is crazy.
Yep.
I feel so old.
Yeah.
Because like all that stuff's like, what?
Yeah. And that's a level 3+. So it's supposed to charge these cars in like 18 minutes. So it's at our Hyundai store on an Ioniq 5. It's supposed to be able to give it a full charge in 18 minutes.
So the Ioniq 5, I've seen those. They look pretty sexy, right? And how far can they can go?
The Ioniq 5, they're depending on your load and capacity that you have in there. They're probably closer to 300 range, maybe 350. You stretch them out depending on where you're at and what you're doing with them.
And all over the country, you're within 200 or 300 miles of a charger, I guess.
Depending on what area of the country, but yeah, most of it. So up at our Durham stores, those are a little popular because you got the Research Triangle right there. Mm-hmm. So, when you got commuters that are commuting less than 30 miles, it's a very popular, popular way to commute. I
guess it's still probably dominant in urban centers. Is that what you'd say?
Yeah.
Yep. Which even Goldsboro, I mean, for someone like me who travels around mostly Goldsboro, Wayne County, I don't put a lot of miles on a vehicle. So I would think that would be a vehicle that I don't even know how many charging stations there are in Wayne County.
Yeah, probably more than what you think there are. There's more and more that are coming in. So, we're growing. We're going to build new stores here in the future, and we've got the infrastructure going in those new stores to have several EV chargers there as well.
That's so cool.
And a lot of dealers are doing that.
Yeah, I just love that. I love to see the whole difference of that moving forward. So, you guys, the future is coming. You have plans to expand your business. What's the goals here?
What are our plans?
We do. So, if you stop by and visit the stores, we got some easels there with the pictures of the images of our new stores. So just down the street from our current location, about 2 miles, where all the car dealers are down there, we've purchased some property down there. And we're hoping to have a shovel in the ground and moving some dirt and starting to build 2 new stores down there by the end of this year.
So will this current location stay, or is it all going to be in that?
No, we're going to move it all up the street.
All
So
be
we bought
consolidated.
about 15 acres up there, and we're going to move both the Mazda and the Volkswagen store up there. So, and they'll be standalone new image stores.
Oh, nice. So that'll be kind of 70 East, like you're going out towards LaGrange.
Yep.
Wilbur's, you know.
Yes.
Like you got to go past the. I mean, if you're not from here, but surely you have smelled the Wilbur's barbecue when you drive
I have.
by.
I've had a chance to try it too. So
Yeah.
it's wonderful.
I mean, that's like the Lord in your heart just giving you love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wrapping his arms around you and just saying, "Hey, I love you." Right? That's what that barbecue smell smells. That's how I feel anyway, as a fat boy. You know, that's how I do it. So that's what's next. You guys are doing new buildings, and will there be new OEMs? I love just saying that out loud.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to see what the future brings for us. And
I
that
gotcha.
we're definitely a company that's looking to grow and expand. And a part of that too is the vision that sport has and that I have together with them is, we got to keep these things growing. If you're going to keep great people like Frankie and the team she has there, they want to grow their careers, right? They want to keep growing. And if we just kind of try to keep the business the size it is and where it's at and keep the company the size it is, it doesn't give them a career path to grow. So, like we were mentioning, I don't know if we did it on the show here before, when we bought those other two stores just about 4 months ago in Jacksonville, Howard Frankie's husband, he got an opportunity. He's down there running those two stores for us. So it creates some great opportunity for the folks. And we try really hard to promote from within anywhere we can. That's another way I think it bleeds our culture and we keep our culture that we want to keep throughout the stores. You bring somebody in from the outside or, you want to keep everybody you have, but if you plug one or two people in that have been with your store in there and keep that culture going, it seems to really help.
And how many employees do you guys have? But I guess both total, but also here in Goldsboro. Any idea?
Goldsboro, I think you guys are up to around 50. Yeah, about 50 here right now in Goldsboro. And we got a little over 300, probably about 325 throughout our whole group.
Doesn't it always blow your mind as a business owner, business leader? You're feeding 50 people's families.
Yeah.
That never gets old to me. Like the value of that and the importance of that. Like here in Wayne County, 50 people's families are being served directly because of their role in what you guys do.
Well, it's funny you say that. In most of our managers meetings, her and I were just talking about this morning, we say that the importance when we got our managers in the room, your decisions directly impact those 50 families that are here. This is how they feed their families. This is how they take care of their children. This is how they, put the food on their table. So we take it very serious when we're making decisions around the dealership or, trying to retain people and respecting, that they, and they live in the community, right? They live in this community. They provide for their families. So it's very important.
Yeah, that's amazing. So at this point in each of your careers, and you guys may be at different places or different level, but just personally speaking, like what motivates you? Like what keeps you going? What keeps you waking up and facing each day,
My answer is I love what I do and I love those people I get to do it with and I love those customers. And they have added a whole new element to it, which I have nothing but respect for Wayne and Sport. They gave us a new way to look at it that we didn't have. And I'm honored to get to work with them and all the things that they have taught me. And I mean, there's everybody, we have a long going discussion about time off, but there's nowhere I'd rather be. I know that's sad. That might be.
No.
I mean, if I've got plans to do something with my kids, then that's different. I want to see them, and there's certain things. But as far as just every week going home for a day and sitting there, and there's nowhere I'd rather be when I wake up in the morning. I mean, I never look at that place, and I know that he feels the same way because he has the same passion in the hours that I talk to him, and he's still on something at 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. So it's just in you. And, you love who you work for and you love what you do and you give it everything you got. And it never do, I mean, I never look at the clock and say, oh my God, 3 more hours, 4 more hours. It's like, you just keep going because there's a new adventure all the time, a new challenge, it's just a great organization to work for and great customers, great employees, and it's just a big family. And that's just such a gift.
For me, it's watching people grow. I'm blessed to be in the role that I'm in, that of overseeing them, where I get to go in and have a meeting with them once a week or twice a week and help them out. Or if they get challenged in a certain area, maybe I'm there a little bit more, but it kind of help them grow through it. And, even watching Frankie as many years as she's done it, she was at these stores and she might have been accused of being a control freak a few times when we got there. And
what?
She had she had to have control of everything. And to see her
bossy and a control freak.
to see her now develop into delegating some things and having enough confidence in some of her other team that she's grown and let them expand has been pretty cool to see. Like I mentioned, her husband Howard, seeing him grow and get an opportunity. Sports son, his oldest son is now in the business. His youngest one is still in college. Watching him grow, he came in and he started full-time in BDCs, of course, worked through the summers, and he's grown to F&I. My son works for us, my older son, and he was doing F&I. He sold cars. He's now a sales manager at our Mazda store in Durham. So it's really cool for me to kind of help and mentor and coach and support, more than anything, all these guys and gals to grow, and it's really cool to see it.
That's amazing. And I would imagine that for both of you, kind of personally, but also professionally, it's invigorating to mix, if it works, and it really sounds like it has, and it looks like it has worked really well. But as that transition has occurred and you learn from each other, like you were talking about, I would imagine it does give a new energy, right? And a new flavor to your day and to your work.
There's many days where, I'm starting to get tired, or you want to wear down, and you can think in your back of your head, well, Frankie's still going, so you got to keep going.
Yeah, that's so cool. Well, look, thank you guys for being part of this, and more than that, from the bottom of my heart, but also for our members. And thank you for the opportunity that you gave us to believe in this podcast and give us a chance to really, talk to a lot of community leaders. And it means a lot to us. And so thank you for your investment in this.
Well, thank you for involving us. We're excited to be involved in the community, and for me, getting to know more about the community and more people in the community. And I think Frankie's excited about being even more involved in her community.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for thinking of us and what all you do for us.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you, and anything we can do, we just want to continue to see you grow and succeed here in Wayne County. And once again, thank you for being on.
Thank you.
All right.